back to the Ice Report. I'm your host, Annika Johnson. This podcast will cover all aspects of the NHL, PWHL, and OHL teams. This will cover different game recaps, different journalists covering the different NHL teams, and other important things going on during the league. This week we have Dave McCarthy coming on with us, who works with the Toronto Maple Leafs as a journalist and is on the Sunday Brunch on SiriusXM. Dave McCarthy is a reporter/interviewer who reports after games with game recaps, maybe game reviews, or even features different players or interviews them before games or after games and morning skates. He also works with the SiriusXM with the Sunday Brunch, which is on during noon, and this is what he had to say this week. Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Always good to be on down in New Jersey.
Thanks for joining us. What's like your back? How did you grow up?
Well, I'll tell you what, Annika, it was, the situation was that I realized far too late in life that I was never going to play in the National Hockey League. Quite honestly, when I didn't get drafted when I was 18, I was like, oh, I guess the dream is over, eh? And I never had a hope of getting drafted. Let's just be clear on that. So I thought to myself, man, I love the game. How do I stay involved? What can I do that can essentially try to fulfill the dream that I had of being involved in the game? And so broadcasting became something that I got really interested in, more or less around your age. Trying to build up a resume, build up some chops, build up some experience, and to do broadcasting. And one thing led to another, and here we are today. But it was born out of a dream of being involved in the league and to find a different way to be involved other than playing.
So how did you get started before joining the Toronto Maple Leafs? When you were in university, were you working with other hockey teams, or did you work with other sports?
Here in Toronto, and what I was able to do was a lot of different jobs. I wrote, I did play-by-play, which is actually something that I'd like to do at some point. Did analysis, did color commentary, did hosting, did PR. You work for a junior hockey team, you wear like 17 hats. And it's great to get experience. Not only did it benefit me in terms of getting experience doing what I do now, but also in building relationships. So I couldn't think of a better way to have started my career for so many different reasons than working with the Buzzers.
But what really got you started into journalism and writing and doing interviews, and how were you able to have the ability to write so strongly and be able to watch a game and just know what's going on?
So, I've probably watched thousands of games, and the more you watch, the more you learn. But what I will tell you is when you can be around people who have played the game or have coached the game, and you talk to them, it's amazing what you think you know, and then you realize what you don't. People will, say, well, watch for this here. And then you watch for that during the course of a game, pick it up, and then suddenly you add it to your depth of knowledge. So I'm a firm believer of you can either do it or you can't. You can either put a sentence together or you can't. And no amount of school, post-secondary education is going to teach you that or not. So you either can do it or you can't. And thankfully, I think I'm entertaining. But at the time, you're doing your best and you keep doing it and you get better. So it just comes down to comfort, experience, confidence, and all of those things. I know somebody like you, far ahead of where I was at my age. Those are going to come real quickly, probably quicker than they did for me.
So how do you come up with prompts on your show on Sundays, the Sunday Brunch? How do you, if you're you're interviewing Fitzgerald or you have the people call in, how do you come up with prompts to ask people questions?
Well, when it comes to, for instance, you mentioned we had Tom Fitzgerald on the other day. Somebody like that, a newsmaker, general manager, coach, player, I usually jot down 3 or 4 topics. I never jot down entire questions word for word. Because what happens, and I did that when I was young, what happens then is you stop listening to what the person is saying, and you're so hell-bent, if you will, on just getting to your next question, regardless of what the person says. And the skill of a good interviewer is actually hearing what the person says And then sometimes what they say might prompt something else that's way more interesting than anything you've got written down. But unless you're listening, you don't hear it, and then you miss those opportunities.
Continuing with the Sunday brunch, how did you come up with the name Sunday Brunch?
I have to give all the credit to my boss, Peter, on that one. I'd like to think that I'm Mr. Creative, but I'll let you in on a secret. I had a name in mind for the show, and I'll tell you, I don't think I've actually told anybody. I thought it was going to be the call on the ice, kind of double entendre there, because when an official makes a ruling, they'll say the call on the ice stands or something like that. And I thought the call on the ice is I'm making my call on what I see on the ice. It kind of works, but it's a little cumbersome, right? So I said to Peter, I'm like, what do you think of the call on the ice? He's like, I don't know if I love it. How about the Sunday brunch, since you're on at brunch on Sunday and you like food, you like to cook? Can't you work with that? Can't you incorporate a theme there? I'm like, yeah, I think I can run with that. See, Peter, this is why you're in charge.
We have a very hockey-oriented school, and with you being around Austin Matthews, all very great professional players, do you have any advice you would give high school kids playing hockey right now that is dreamed of being in the NHL?
Sacrifice is important because what these guys are able to do, it is superhuman. It really is. I love my favorite kind of people who chirp me on Twitter. Usually says something not unlike, "Yeah, that guy's terrible. I'm so much better than that guy. That guy couldn't play in my beer league." I'm like, and they say that about like Ryan Reeves, for instance, okay, or like Matty Martin with the Islanders, the tough guys, right? I'm like, buddy, you know what? Ryan Reeves could come to your pickup game, your beer league game, your men's league game, leave his jeans on, okay, and score 20 goals for fun and try like 10%. That's how good the guy is. You watch guys in practice, and it's really difficult to pick out the Austin Matthews compared to the Ryan Reeves on the team because their skill level is all so high. It's just that when you get into games, some guys are able to react just that tenth of a second quicker. And that makes all the difference. Or the guy's shot is just that much better. But man, you put them all together in practice, they're all unbelievable players. So what I would say is sacrifice. If you think you're going to get to the next level by just giving it, you go to practice and then you go home and you go out with your buddies and I'm not getting up to work out on the weekend because I got out and took a peek on a Saturday night and I'm feeling it a little bit and we're just going to skip that. So it's not going to cut it. It's not going to cut it. And what you learn is all of these guys have made so many sacrifices through their teenage years where you're missing, a lot of things that high school kids like to do, right? But if you want to get to that next level, you really have to be willing to put in that extra time because you don't get as good as these guys are for fun or by accident. They really have worked incredibly, incredibly hard. And then once they get to this level, they still work at a level that is, again, second to none. No one's going away and getting after it on a Tuesday night before a game anymore. It's recovery, it's eating well, it's sleeping well. All of those things, so important. And if you're not willing to do it, the straight facts, Annika, is you just don't have a chance to get not to the NHL, but like even to college hockey.
There's someone you enjoy interviewing after games or after a post win that you would obviously favorite interviewing and asking questions to?
I like anybody that is willing to give you an entertaining answer. And so there's a lot of different guys. And what I would say is when you're around long enough, you can build up some relationships with guys where a lot of people would think, oh, that guy's not entertaining or that guy doesn't give me much. But how come you get something out of him? Well, because he knows you, because he's willing to trust you. knows you're not going to put him in a tight spot. And so for instance, Willie Nylander, it's a guy that generally in post-game scrums doesn't give you all that much. And we always joke about like minute 45 in, you start to see one of these. And for folks watching, you'll see you kind of get the lean going, right? The lean off toward the door. It's like, oh, there's the Willie lean off, right? And there's one more question, and yeah, no, of course, you just try to play good. Okay, see, and he doesn't even let you ask another question. He's out the door. I've been fortunate to build up a pretty good relationship with him. So, for instance, last week, Chicago fires Luke Richardson, which I don't actually agree with. That was a bad decision. Point being, they hired Anders Sorensen, first Swedish coach in NHL history. And I thought, geez, I wonder if Willie knows Anders Sorensen, being Swedish, right? And he comes from the first family of Swedish hockey. The Nylanders know a lot of people over there. So I asked PR, I said, and because this was at the morning skate, and Willie never talks the morning skate because he doesn't generally go on the ice. And if he does, he's like first guy out the door, and he does his own thing. Can't argue with him, shoots in the net almost every night. So I said to the PR with the Leafs, I'm like, any chance Willie's around, I'd love to ask him if he knows Anders Sorensen. And they're like, oh, just give me a sec, we'll check. So he goes in the back. Guy pops his head out the door. He's like, yeah, just hang on. Willie comes running out the back. I will tell you, in nothing but a towel skirt. Hey, just hang on. I really want to talk about Anders Sorensen. He's a good family friend of him. Gave me such fantastic stuff. He said he coached me when I was like a mite, when I was 6 years old, when the team had the bag of goalie equipment and you rotated through and everybody, and I wanted to be goalie, and he gave me unbelievable stuff. And I sent it into my boss, and he's like, how the heck did you get that? I'm like, well, because he knows me, trust me. And so that's what I say. I can't pick one guy, but there's a good collection of guys that you have real good relationships with. They trust you, and they know you're not going to put them in a tight spot. Then the sky's the limit, because that's when you can really get the good stuff behind the scenes.
Thank you so much for everything today and joining us on the podcast. It was nice having you.
Great to be on anytime.
Thank you so much. I'll talk to you on Twitter soon. Thank you, Dave, so much for coming on with us this week. It's so interesting knowing that how you started playing from hockey and then you finally got into the NHL, but not for playing hockey, but for reporting for a great, incredible team and getting these opportunities that you've always had. It's so great actually knowing the background of how people get to where they are today. Follow the Wessex Wire on Instagram and comment or request for more stuff on the Ice Report.